Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. You're listening to the Wrestling Fans Insight. Jesus, I'm gone a week and I can't even talk. So I'm your host, John Hoppe. I am not with my brother again this week. This sucks. But I do have my other favorite co-host, Carlos. How you doing, brother?
Nice. Thanks. Here's Wilma, guys. Thank you. Wow.
Hey,
I'm good. Happy Sunday, everybody. My fantasy football team is winning right now, so I'm good. I'm in a good mood.
Well, mine barely is winning, but I also have crap picks. So that's what happens when you're on an auto draft and you're not around to pick your guys. So
you did what the hell? Why would you do that? I would have fought to like, guys. You must not be that into it if you're willing to miss your draft, dude. Sorry.
Well, the problem is the guy who's in charge of our fantasy draft always holds it at my recording time.
I mean, reschedule some shit. It's on Sundays, like the last Sunday before the season, or what? Oh,
yeah.
You should. We could have rescheduled. We could have went later. Damn, dude, it's fantasy football.
He always waits till the Sunday before the NFL season starts, and I'm like, God damn.
I like that better though, because if people get hurt, then you know you're not with the player. We did ours like 2 weeks early. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it just makes it really hard to be there to make the right picks. Those are the problems. So
yeah.
And I was trying hard not to do the picks while we were recording, but I had to do some of them. Otherwise, it looked like I was getting hosed based off what the computer was looking to pick for me. So
right.
I was like, yeah, the hell with this shit. But anyways, hey, brother. Everybody knew I attended Monday Night Raw based off some of my tweets. I thought Raw was a pretty good showing, but however,
what were the dark matches? So what was the main event?
There really wasn't much for dark matches. They actually had a recording for main event, and then that was it. So we really had no dark matches after.
You didn't get a dark main event?
No, we did not, believe it or not.
What the hell?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time we've attended a Raw where we've had a dark main event.
That might be more of a SmackDown thing, huh? Because SmackDown's a shorter show.
Because last year when SmackDown was done here in Salt Lake City, we had a dark match. It was Imperium against the team of I want to say it was Ricochet, Braun Strowman, and I can't remember who the last guy was.
Riddick Moss?
No, it was somebody else.
Rick Boogs?
That's going to drive me nuts now. Because usually I can remember stuff like that. But no, unfortunately, we got the 3 matches it was like 2 or 3 matches for main event and beforehand, before we went live Monday, and that was it. And it was kind of interesting because 2 of the 3 matches were women's matches, which you don't normally would see that kind of stuff for main event, but it was.
I think they've been doing a lot more lately, putting the women on there.
Well, and that's good. I mean, it's good to see the women featured more and more too. So, but hey, what do you think of the rest of the week's programming since I haven't been able to watch?
So really quick, AEW Collision, or was it called what do they call it, a Grand Slam Rampage, was really good. I just feel like it was funny because like I was getting ready to criticize them and be like, because there was like, I think there was 8 matches or 7 matches. So I think there were 7 matches, and it was one of those things where like, oh my gosh, this is gonna feel edited. And that's one of my biggest complaints about Rampage is like, you should film it, you should shoot it like it's gonna be live. It shouldn't feel so edited, and I think it would do better with the ratings. But it was a good show. It was a good episode. I'm not really happy that the Young Bucks and Adam Page are the new Ring of Honor 6-man champions. I feel like that should be the developmental brand. But again, if they're gonna go, if it was for the purposes of they're trying to get them a TV show with Warner Brothers Discovery, that'd be cool. But I don't really feel like that's the case. It's just to me, it's like I want to just have Pacific talent for that brand. Like you don't need to have all this talent over, and it just felt like a lot crammed into the show that didn't really need to be there. Like they had a 4-way match for the Ring of Honor, or for the Ring of Honor #1 contender match, and it's like, so anyone can go challenge for the AEW tag titles, but you got to have a #1 contenders match for the Ring of Honor titles. There's not consistency with the way he's doing the booking right now, and it's just frustrating. because I'm getting past the point where I just appreciate good matches as a fan of AEW. I'm getting to the point where it's like I want more storyline. But again, for me, like I have a pretty relaxed schedule, so I mean I can make time to watch wrestling and stuff like that. But at the same time, if I wouldn't feel compelled to watch the show, I thought Sting and Darby was a good match. The Acclaim, again, they had a lot of good matches there. And again, I did like that it felt live, but it was just a lot of show crammed into there. With SmackDown was a good show. Asuka and Io got 20 minutes, which was really, really good. I didn't really like, I don't like what they did to AJ Styles. I feel like I want to see better booking for AJ, and they just took him out. And the word on the street is that it was supposed to be LA Knight that was going to come out and help John Cena and be his partner, but he got COVID, which I'm kind of sad about because, you know, I'm supposed to go to SmackDown this Friday in Sacramento, and I'm like, man, LA Knight's not going to be there. That's going to suck. But the same time, it is what it is. You know, it's like, but I thought the card overall was good. I like that they're utilizing the Brawling Brutes better. I love the team of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. I think Grayson Waller is that guy. I mean, I think I could see him. I could see him passing Theory and being champion, you know, at WrestleMania. I just think he's so good at what he does. And then I just thought SmackDown flowed really well. I don't like the Bloodline storyline. They fumbled the bag with that, as far as with Jimmy Uso trying to go back to the Bloodline. It just, to me, like Roman needs to be there to and it's like I'm over it. Just when they circle back to that and putting Jimmy back in there with really no explanation, it showed to me that they don't really have this thing planned out like they try to say they do. But then again, Vince McMahon could have came back and said, I want Jimmy back in there. I mean, that's how it rolls these days. I thought Collision was really, really good. My only thing with Collision is I didn't get Powerhouse Hobbs wasn't there, and the Miro was there in an interview, but it's like you literally had 6 hours of programming this week, and you couldn't put those guys on there. I feel like they shouldn't have been guys that were on Dynamite that were on Collision, which there really wasn't. I mean, it was kind of like all fresh cards, but at the same time, there was just matches that I didn't see, but at the same time, like the women's match they got to have on there. But I just feel like the card could have, I wish Hobbs would have been there, but I mean, Andrade and Jake killed it. Ricky Starks and Danielson, they killed it. And then the opening match, what was it was a 3-way match for the TNT Championship, and Christian is officially the champion now. And that match is really good too. But at the same time, if you're gonna do that, they could have done that at Rampage, you know, Grand Slam, and gave that TV spot to a Powerhouse Hobbs, you know. But at the same time, I mean, that's just a small complaint, but I think it was overall, it was a really good week of wrestling. You know, it was exciting. My big thing for me is next year, I want to see Grand Slam just be a pay-per-view, because I feel like it took away. If you're looking at the card for Wrestle Dream, it's a really weak card. Next year, I don't want to see. Oops. I want to see Grand Slam. Why is that doing that? I feel like it's a really weak card, and I just feel like it's, you know, I get it. It's the New York market. They got to go for New York, and they got to sell it. But at the same time, you look at All Out and you look at Wrestle Dream, and they just don't compare in comparison to what we got at Grand Slam. And I just hope, but I get it. You got to do strong in New York. And the one good thing that I liked about Grand Slam coming out of it was that it showed that MJF's a draw. I mean, the guy, he went there and busted his ass, and he, you know, he proved that he could, you know, he proved that he's a draw, you know, because tickets were really low. He was doing media things, media blitzes all week, and it really showed that he's a draw. You know, they got over 10,000 people there, so I think that was a good thing. But yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. It was a good week for wrestling for sure.
Oh, awesome. I guess I told a little bit of a lie. I was able to actually catch a little bit of Dynamite Grand Slam, but was not able to catch, you know, NXT or Rampage or Collision. So sounds like I missed a hell of a rest of the week the way you just put it out there. So
oh, you did, you know, and that's the thing too. It's like the thing that I like, that again, the thing that I'm liking, like AEW has issues, but I do like the fact that we're getting matches now. Like Andrade and Jay White could have been either way. You know, like that was a really good match. Jay White needs to do something about the snot on his face, though. It grosses me out. get a towel, wipe your face every so often. It's like, it's just too much. It's like grosses me out. But again, like I like those matches, even with Ricky Starks and Danielson. Like I mean, I kind of felt Danielson was going to win because he has the big matchup coming up next Sunday against Zack Sabre. But at the same time, you didn't know who was going to win that match, and so I think that's more of what they need to do is Tony Khan he's getting away from just the safe booking and utilizing his big roster he has and not being able to give these guys losses, and I don't know if the rest of Igor Nobles is going to be joining Andrade, because it seems like that's kind of the direction they're going, but I don't want to see. I think these guys make better heels than they do faces, but if that's the direction they're going to go, I'm okay with that. The one thing I'm kind of curious about is if Malachi. I know Brody King is injured. He's got a like a cast on his arm. But where is Buddy Matthews? Where is Malachi? I want to see those guys on. I want to see those guys on my TV. Other than that, it was a really good show. But again, to me, like it just addressed those things. But yeah, and Adam Cole was on. He was on a different, like I forget, the Defy Wrestling, I think it is. He was there. He challenged somebody to a match. So I'm guessing that that means that he's okay, which I'm really excited about. So
awesome.
But yeah, but yeah, I mean, they're really good shows. I mean, again, I think that's a good thing that they let the women cook on SmackDown. I get the Brawling Brutes, and they all had, it was really good. It was really good. It was really, really good, entertaining matches. Again, it was a lot. And then one thing my only criticism of Tony Khan too is I don't really understand. Like, I wish Orange Cassidy was going after the world title right now. Like, to me, like, again, maybe he has things that he's trying to get in there, but to me, like, if you just had this guy come off a really good year-long title reign with this title that he may feel important, it would just make sense that he would want to go after the world title and not be, tag teaming with Hook at Collision or on the Grand Slam. But it was still a good match. Again, the thing I do like and appreciate about Tony Khan is when they are in an area like a hometown. So being in the New York area, he tried to get a lot of people in there for like the Dark Orders from New York, Anthony Bowens and Mac and Statlander, like, Santana. And that's another one that makes me mad too. To me, like, I wish Tony Khan would just be the boss and he would just tell Santana Ortiz, you know what, for business purposes, you guys are going to tag. I like looking at Santana now because he's put on some muscle. He's looking like a piece, nice piece of man candy. But at the same time, like I don't think he's not going to accomplish anything as a singles wrestler. So to me, I'd rather just see them as a tag team. And I wish Tony Khan would just put his foot down and be like, no, you know what, you guys are going to team together. Sorry, but it is what it is. It's entertaining, like I said. But to me too, I just wish the Dark Order was the Ring of Honor 6-man champions. I feel like that's a good place for them. But again, it was a good action. It was a really fun time to be a wrestling fan,
Oh, without a doubt. I'm just really bummed I got to miss a lot of it. So, but maybe
you could go and camping so much. I mean, I know you like to pitch a tent, dude, but come on. But I mean, why didn't you watch it there? Because obviously you have Wi-Fi there. So how come you didn't watch it on your phone?
Don't be a hater, for one, but two, we had our nephews with us, so we were always trying to entertain everything. So my wife did, however, tried to make the exception where if I needed to watch something, I could. But
got her permission.
When you got your nephews and it's going to be their last camping trip of the year, you definitely should be spending that time making sure they're making their last trip of the year very enjoyable. And that's what I wanted to make sure they did. Normally,
at the same time, we're a team, and so I mean, we live when one of us can't be there, the other one is. So it's not that, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I noticed ratings go up when you take over too. So
what can I say?
Everybody loves the Los, man.
But the thing too, I think, but at the same time, I would definitely recommend watching it back if you have time today. There's some good matches there, especially with Collision. I thought they really did a good job. I was like, damn. And then women's match was really good on SmackDown.
I may have to see if I can find internet clips or something because I dropped Sling. I finally got tired of paying for their service and get kind of sucking lately. So I've actually just decided to dedicate everything to MV streams. So, and if you don't have MV streams, shame on you because you could be saving a lot on pay-per-view buys, especially if you watch all the wrestling pay-per-views, UFC events, any type of sporting pay-per-view.
They seem to get a DVR thing going.
Oh man, if they did, that would be the shit right there.
What did Marcy reply to your MV streams post when you said that to her?
I doubt it, but at least MV Streams recognized it, so that's all that matters. So I always like to give those guys some type of advertising because I really do enjoy their service. It's saved me a lot of money, and really for one monthly price, you get a lot out of their services. Again, the only thing is they just don't have any DVR, and that's the only bummer. But I'd be willing to pay a few extra bucks more a month if they have that. So that they have a crap load of channels. I mean, Carlos can attest to that too.
Oh, it's like crazy. Like I said, my thing is the DVR thing. But then too, it's like, who's the decider on which shows that because like they have like they have a big catalog too of past shows like you can go watch in the current shows. But then like the one show I want was Heels, and they didn't have that on there. So I went and subscribed to Stars for 3 months just because I really wanted to watch Heels. Because it's just trying to find out when it was on live and stuff like that was bad. But I mean, they have movies too and stuff like that. And for me too, like I forget sometimes because I'm so used to watching certain shows like Big Brother even. I'm like, oh shit, I could be watching it live right now on MV streams. Damn it. Because that's one thing where I've gotten so used to like watching like those shows on the delay. And I'm like, duh, it's just like wrestling. You could be watching this at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is kind of cool, But yeah, so I think it's a really good thing. And to me too, it's like, it is what it is. I mean, their system, are they doing some things they shouldn't be doing? Probably, but at the same time, who cares? Like, you're gonna, it's welcome to America, baby. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Especially for football and everything else. I mean, for what the NFL is trying to charge for this stuff. And even, I even remember the first time I went on the thing I love, and so I'm going to give the thing I love about, and the thing that's good about YouTube TV, which is where the new NFL Red Zone and what is the other NFL? What's the other package called?
I don't know. Well, I only know the NFL Network and the NFL Red Zone.
They Red Zone, but I think it is Red Zone. But anyways, yeah. So So the good thing about it being on, the good thing about YouTube TV is you can actually share it with 5 other people in your family, and so you can literally set up 5 other accounts for people. So I think that's the cool thing about them being with YouTube now. So if you did get the NFL package, you can share that with 5 other people in your family. And if people are smart, they would just going on with each other. But the thing is that for me, when I first joined YouTube TV, it was only $50, and then it went up to 55, and now it's like $80 just because they're doing all this other shit. And so again, you can get MV streams for $35 a month, So I mean, I do think that YouTube TV is a good alternative, especially for what they charge for cable and boxes and everything else like that. But at the same time, it's like, compare that to an MVCV streams, it's pennies on, it's just definitely worth it. And for myself, like, because I do have Wi-Fi in the house, I downgraded my cell phone service, and that's how I'm paying for my MV stream. So that's how I justified the cost myself personally.
Well, look at you being responsible and stuff.
Yeah, but it sucks. I've used up all my data finally from my phone, but at the same time, I'm on the Wi-Fi at work and I'm on the Wi-Fi here. So just when I take my walk right now, sometimes I can't listen to things, but at the same time, it's kind of nice to be unplugged for that hour and just enjoy nature too. So sometimes God works in mysterious ways,
Yeah, most definitely. Ways you don't ever expect it or see it coming. So
yeah, so I mean, even because even that's what I'm finding now with and again, we're just shout out to the Sage Network really quick. This is we're part of the Sage Up Network, and with that, it's been just a lot. It's been fun, like even today, I put the picture of Cutler and Colt Cabana on there, and just the responses already just had me busting up laughing, So it's like so it's like it just. I love the interaction with people, but it's like it's a full-time job almost interacting with people today on X Space, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing because it's really good for mental health, and I just have a lot of good time just meeting people and stuff like that. But now I find out when I do find when I'm on my walks, because before we were doing all this, that was my time to be on there, like on the follow trees and stuff like that. But now it's kind of like, okay, this is my time again, you know? So it is nice being unplugged. Like I said, God works in mysterious ways, you know, like just kind of taking that time back for myself and just, you know, my time with God and just being able to just sit there and just be at peace, you know, it's kind of a nice thing, you know? So I'm not really complaining about that.
I also, sorry, was kind of had a squirrel moment there. I'm trying to make sure we're checking the phone every so often because, you know, we're not just live on X Space. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, and also on our Twitch channel. So appreciate each and every one of you who are tuned in at the moment. And again, this will be available on our podcast platforms here shortly later tonight. But while we get right into well, actually, I do want to give a shout out here because since you gave a shout out to the Shaded Up Network, and we're very proud to be a part of that family, I want to give a real huge special shout out to Ted the Hillbilly Hill, who's been giving us nothing but 5-star reviews there on the Spotify for Podcasters app. Thank you, Ted. We appreciate everything. We will eventually have a promo here for you soon, so we promise. It's on our list as long as Carlos doesn't make me forget or anything. So,
or John doesn't go camping every weekend. Don't even put it on me, asshole.
wow, do you need a hug already?
No, I'm just keeping it real, dude. Like, oh, you're probably gonna pass the buck here.
Oh, everybody knows I'm busy this time of year. Mid-September to mid
between shining up guys' balls on Tuesday nights and drilling holes too.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with shining bowling balls
and drilling holes.
But now that we got to the X-rated part of our explicit podcast here, well,
I know. I think we should go after the Smacking It Raw podcast, and I think we should go to be the #1 podcast on Pornhub. You know, why not?
I think they can have that title.
I'll just go like here. I think we're the #1 wrestling podcast in Butte County. You know, I'm gonna go for that. Like Ted Hillbilly Hill says, you know, you just sell it. You know, you just sell it. You know, like that's wrestling is all about being carny. You know.
well, he is #1 in Antarctica.
So. Exactly. Who's gonna deny it? You know.
I think we're #1 at the top of the Utah mountains. So you know.
Yeah.
Whatever works. Well, we're
#1 in the Kiwi capital of the world right now, you know. So hey,
yeah. Why don't we get to the meat part of the podcast today? Today I want to kind of get more into this past week. Everybody knew with Endeavor merging with or taking over WWE. Or I shouldn't say taking over, but the buy merger or whatever. So is it called TKO now or
yeah?
Okay, because this is where I'm all sorts of confuddled because I don't get real deep into the names or who bought what, who's merging, all that crap. So TKO is the main management who owns UFC and WWE now. Is that correct?
Correct. And they're also a talent agency as well. So
okay. So long story short, we already knew releases were bound to happen. A couple that were actually some shockers, others not so much. I would say a good chunk of the list, you pretty much could see it happening. Unfortunately, there was a couple others though that I thought provided more value than the others, and I know those are always it. One, there's no such thing as an easy release. It sucks when you ever have to tell someone, "Hey, sorry, thank you for everything you've done, but we gotta let you go." You don't ever want conduct business that way, but sometimes you have to, and you know, it was a bummer week for a lot of talent. Why don't we go ahead and go down the list? I'm going to start with, well, I don't really have in any particular order, so I guess we're not going to really have a start to end, but let me go down the list here. We have Mustafa Ali, Emma, Elias, Top Dollar, Rick Boogs, Riddick Moss, formerly known as Madcap Moss, Aaliyah, Shelton Benjamin. This was probably the most shocker here. Dolph Ziggler, Matt Riddle, Dana Brooke, Ikemen Jiro, Shanky, Quincy Elliott, Bryson Montana, Mansoor or Mansoor, however the hell you want to pronounce it anymore. Mace.
Mansoor.
Yeah, Mansoor, that's what it was. Mace, or also known as Mace. Dabakato. This was another shocker. Yulisa Leon. That one I really was dumbfounded. Daniel.
Why?
Well, for the fact that, they just recently had Valentina Feroz come back not too long ago. I mean, that was a tag team, a good tag team I thought was developing, but
Which one was it?
Yulisa Leon.
Who was she with?
She was with Valentina Feroz.
Oh, they're trash.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
Bathroom break. They had no charisma.
Listen, just chill out till I give the rest of my list here, Monkey.
Will's not here. I can talk shit about NXT.
Oh, here we go. I'm gonna rile.
No, please. It's my. I think it's the most consistent shit. I think it's the most consistent brand on television right now. But there's a lot of those people that can. Next, please.
All right, hang on. I got 4 more.
All right.
Daniel MacArthur, Kevin Ventura Cortez, whoever the hell that is, Alexis Gray, and I had to double take this because I'm like, wait a minute, he was already fired, but Brooklyn Barlow. And that pretty much completes the entire list.
Did you say Matt Riddle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt Riddle was announced right after Rick Boogs. So why don't we start with probably our least shocking. I would definitely have to say Top Dollar. But here's what confuses me. Why would you release Top Dollar but not Ashante Adonis and B-Fab?
So that's where, so just really quick. So again, I think I want to wish all these guys good luck in the future. The thing about this, though, and again, the thing I got to say is, first of all, I do get upset because to me, I don't know, and I want your opinion about this. Do you think this is like a power trip with Vince McMahon? Because they could easily afford to pay these guys till the end of their contracts, and that's one thing I like about Tony Khan is that he honors his word, and when he signs somebody, he gives them their contract. Like I don't understand why WWE couldn't let these guys go work in other independent programs and still pay them out. Do you think it's like a more of a ego thing with Vince, like a power trip thing that he releases his people? Like, what's your opinion about that?
Well, I guess the first question is, was this really all Vince's decision on who was released?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. But at the same time, it's just been their business. Like I think, because I could have swore I heard somewhere else that they said with TKO, one of the things they were helping for is there wouldn't be any more releases. And that's even when Triple H took over. That's something that he said was that. And I remember hearing this because of course I went down the rabbit hole with this thing, and I was listening to a bunch of different podcasts and so forth with this. One of the things that Triple H, when he first took over, he came out and said was that they weren't going to be releases like this, that they were going to let people work out. They were going to let people work their contracts out. So I do feel like it is a Vince thing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from on that. Again, I don't know if it was necessarily all Vince, but
maybe nothing, but just the practice in general. Like they have plenty of money. There's no reason why, and again, like people are pointing out, and we can talk about this too. They just announced the new TV rights deal with USA Network for SmackDown. They got a 40% increase on that. They're doing a stadium show in Australia, which they're going to get paid for. And then, oh, by the way, we got to cut money.
Yeah. So this is where I'm really upset. We're okay with bringing in The Rock, bringing back Cena, but we had to cut all these other guys. Then the announcement of the SmackDown deal going back to the USA Network. But now this is the one that really confuses me. NXT and Raw are now up for bids. And it's like, well, okay, wouldn't you think if you merge with somebody, you want to try to just keep it on one network? And what I also don't understand is why don't you just make it exclusive to Peacock now? This is where I'm just really scratching my head. so much. It just
Well, the big thing that I want to find out too is why didn't NBC Universal just buy the WWE? You know, like it just doesn't make so. To me, like I meant to ask the question to Sean Ross Sapp because he does a Q&A every Friday, and I forgot, and I asked a dumb question instead, and he didn't bother to answer my question. But that's what I'm kind of wondering, if they never bid because they didn't feel like they would get this, because Vince McMahon probably wanted to keep power. And I'm assuming that if they took it over, they weren't going to keep him in power. So I'm curious to know if NBC Universal didn't bid on it because they knew that Vince wouldn't sell to them, or if it was a hush hush deal, because if they would have bid, Vince would have looked bad for not taking the deal, because it just would have made. I'm curious to know if they were told not to bid because it wouldn't be taken in. If there was like a backdoor deal handshake where they agreed not to bid on it. Because to me, if you're paying $1.4 billion for 5 years of SmackDown, and you're already paying $1 billion for the streaming rights to the premium live events, there's $2.5 billion, and that's only for 5 years, and that's not even including Raw or NXT. Why wouldn't you just buy the whole thing outright? It just makes no sense to me.
This is what confuses me is after, Fox went so hard after WWE for their programming and was only really able to land SmackDown because I believe the hope was if they were able to make them happy with the production on SmackDown, they were going to try to go after Raw and NXT, and apparently that did not work out so well as we see. So now my thought is okay, well, are we just going to keep everything USA Network related? But at the same time, like you said, why didn't Comcast just buy them? Makes no sense.
So again, I it's one of the things where I cannot wait for more stuff to come out, because obviously it had. And again, why didn't they even bid on it? So again, to me, it has to be the fact that they were told Vince McMahon would not. I'm sure Vince had to remain in power. Like that was part of it. So he was only going to do the TKO thing. Because that just makes no sense. I mean, they could have had amusement park rides, everything. At the Universal Studios. It just makes no sense whatsoever that they wouldn't want to have it all on the network. And the thing, I was listening to Strictly Business with Eric Bischoff, and he was talking about that they literally, when they first got SmackDown, they were expecting like 5-6 million. They were expecting 5 to 6 million viewers. And so, I mean, so when they first came out of the gate, they did 3.5, which was still good, but then they lost like a big percentage of that. And then again, they're doing fine as far as the numbers go, but to say the same time, to me, and I think this is where they need to realize this, being on network television was priceless to me. And so to me, if Fox was even willing to like pay them the same amount of money, they should have stayed with Fox, because the stock dipped 20% as soon as they lost network television. And that's even with them picking up more money on NBC Universal.
Well, when you mention that, now WWE really doesn't have any free TV options.
No. So then again, the money you were fighting, the money that you were fighting for your rights deals, you lost that and more in your stock price in that one day. So to me, it just makes no damn sense. And maybe that's where people were pissed off. Like, you just lost free TV, and now you just lost more in your stock because it went down literally $20 a share. That's a lot of money. And that right there would have paid for the TV deal. So, it's funny because our friend of ours, Eric, was bragging on he was on Twitter, on X, and talking, oh yeah, they just secured the rights for NBC Universal is paying this for SmackDown. Ooh, my stock price is going up. Like, Mike, have you looked at the stock price? He's like, oh shit. I go, yeah, dude, it's down like 18%. Yeah. And so to me, like, again, just doesn't, there's that prime real estate. And to me, like, they should have just bit the bullet, because even like that, when they did get those weeks where they got what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? They got something else came on. They got blocked. They got taken off Fox. They got preempted. They got preempted for baseball. They still got put on FS1, and FS1 would show replays of SmackDown throughout the week. So to me, and then Fox Sports even went and hired people like Ryan Satin. They created a whole thing for them. like they should have just humbled themselves and stayed there, because I think they made a mistake with that. But yeah. So any more thoughts on that? I'm sorry, it took us down a different road, but I just think the whole thing is just kind of like wow. And so again, to me, you know, I mean, SmackDown is the A show, but I mean, but the way because it's been on Fox, but at the same time, like people always looked as Raw as the true A show. And now it's like the fact that you might be they're whoring themselves out, you know, they're losing their identity for money. And it's just, and again, is this the right decision? Because they were talking about, are they gonna move the SmackDown or gonna move Raw to a new day? Like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, no, it's called Monday Night Raw, you know, like that's no, you should have just stayed on USA, you know, just and man, it's gonna be interesting to see how the cards play out, you know. Like, and again, money is good temporarily, but at the same time, is it gonna look good in the end, you know?
Yeah, and I forgot what I was supposed to be answering in the first place, but
About the TV rights deal, we were talking about the releases, but then I just took it down the TV rights thing, just about them losing Fox, and you were talking about their you know, free television and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it was the other question, but
about the releases.
Yeah, but
we can go back to it. Yeah.
No,
but no. So again, so we're talking about if they were TKO's decision or if they were Vince McMahon's, and I think it's a Vince McMahon thing, totally.
Yeah, and I wouldn't doubt if it is a Vince McMahon thing, but again, some of it doesn't make sense because
the one thing. Well, so again, so do we think that it was because of behavioral issues, or was it because of time? Because like you said, it doesn't make sense that they didn't release B-Fab and Ashanti when they released Top Dollar. So that's what makes me wonder if it was because of him always opening his mouth, you know. And I think there might, and Rick Boogs was talking about, you know, he might have thought he got politicked out, or even like they released Shelton, but they didn't release Cedric, you know. So I mean, in my first thoughts are they're going to put Cedric and Ashanti as a tag team, you know.
Well, before you let me talk there, that's what I was going to get to.
Sorry.
Was Rick Boogs mentioned he felt like he was politicked out of the back rooms or the backstage, and that's why he lost his job. And you know, if that is the case, then yeah, I can see that being a Vince McMahon deal, because you know, if you get on Vince's bad side because you don't agree with something he thinks or in his view, you're pretty much just done, and Vince isn't going to keep you around. And that's the unfortunate part of WWE. If Vince is in charge, is it's basically if you're not in the boss's right view, you're just done. He's not going to give you a chance, and in many ways, I think that's wrong.
Or it could have been Triple H, because to me it seemed. I mean, if you looked at SmackDown a year and a half ago, to me it seems like Rick Boogs and Riddick Moss were both big Vince McMahon guys. I mean, they were both prominently featured on SmackDown. So I wonder if it's one of those things where, you know, maybe Triple H didn't like him, and Triple H is like, okay, if you're gonna get rid of some of my guys, I get to get rid of some of yours too. So, you know, I wonder if that's the political thing they were talking about, you know?
Well, and if you remember back on WrestleMania 38, Rick Boogs got injured there.
Because they were supposed to win the tag belts, right?
That's the rumor. I don't think they were supposed to win the tag belts, but Rick Boogs got injured in that match, and that set him out for, I believe, almost over a year. And I think he's just never been able to find his way since coming back from injury. So, you know, breaking away from Shinsuke Nakamura, they've really never had anything for the guy when he came back. I thought it would have been cool if they actually kept him going with Elias, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, you know, they should have been a tag team.
They could form their little two-man band, no pun intended to you know, Heath Slater there. But you know, they could have had something going on there. That one kind of, like I said, Top Dollar, that one kind of scratched my head that you released a third of the member of that Hit Row group. You look at someone like Yulisa Leon, who was in a tag team with Valentina Feroz. I'm a little shocked we haven't heard Valentina's release yet. So, and who knows, releases aren't totally done yet, folks. Just so you know, as of this recording, I believe they are still projecting a few more releases, even though TKO says they're not planning on it. It just, usually it seems like these releases take about 2 weeks before they hit the final nitty gritty. But yeah, Top Dollar kind of shocked me. Well, didn't really shock me, but I'm more shocked that the rest of Hit Row is still there. Um, I would say my other least shocking was Madcap Moss, Emma. Those two had nothing going. Mansoor and Mansoir and Marseille. That was pretty much a done deal after they had Maxine Dupree team up with Alpha Academy. And as far as pretty much the rest, except for a couple I've already mentioned that were shockers, yeah, I mean, who would you say was probably your least shocking as far as being releases?
And the one thing I want to say too is like to me, like people were saying to me, they could have these releases could have been a lot worse. So I think people need to realize that these to me these honestly this I don't think that the amount of people released was that bad. It could have been a lot worse. Like 2020 release when Vince McMahon released like 40 people. So for the fans that want to criticize them a lot, it could have been a lot worse. But like I already said before, to me, I feel like they should honor contracts. But it could have been a lot worse. The one that surprised me, the least surprised me, you said?
Yeah, the least surprising.
Honest, if I'm being honest, Dolph Ziggler. Because I feel like for the amount of money they were paying him, and I just think they had nothing for him. I think that was a rise move. And the one that didn't surprise me was also Mustafa Ali, even though he was supposed to fight Dominic. Because I don't think you can't release other people. You can't release people and keep people who aren't happy at their job. Keep people that aren't happy. So we all know that he hasn't been happy for a long time. So I think that to me made a lot of sense that he got released. I mean, because why are you going to hold someone else hostage when they want to get released? But to me, at the same time, they had him finish up the match. I think they could have still done, said, we'll release you officially in 2 weeks. But at the same time, it is what it is. So that one, and honestly, the Shelton Benjamin didn't really surprise me either, especially with Bobby Lashley being on being over on SmackDown now. But again, to me, why not Cedric too? But at the same time, I'm happy Cedric got to keep his job. So again, that's why seeing these guys that didn't get released kind of gives me hope that they're going in the right direction as far as, still trying to find out things for these guys to do. But yeah, that one didn't surprise me. That one didn't surprise me either. Like, because again, too, if you listen to what they were saying, he had all these talents making main roster money, but they aren't getting, but they weren't, they're not they're not bringing to the table what they're being paid. So that makes sense to me. But yeah, so those were the least shocking to me. I guess if I'm being honest.
And one thing I want to point out while we're talking about this, we're not encouraging releases. That's the one thing we never encourage, is because we enjoy watching wrestling. We want to make sure talent is employed somewhere. And the one thing we do want to send is our condolences. We know losing a job's always hard, but for those of you who have been released, keep hope. There's plenty of opportunity around. Don't be afraid to go check out the other organizations out there, because there's plenty out there. There's plenty of opportunity. It's also a good way to get yourself rebuilt and make a way for yourself. Look at the likes of Zack Ryder, who's known as Matt Cardona. Look how well he's kind of built himself right up in the ranks. Look at guys like Bryan Danielson, now known as, or formerly known as Daniel Bryan. He's done really killer work there for AEW since his departure from the WWE. We've seen, there's another one, Cody Rhodes. He's another prime example. He went out to the Indies, Ring of Honor, New Japan.
Drew Galloway, Drew McIntyre. Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have done really wonders since being released from WWE.
And then if you look at the AEW side, look at the guys like the Swerve Stricklands,
Keith Lee,
Keith Lee, Adam Cole, the guys 2.0, Ruby Soho. There's a lot of people that they took the ball and they made a lot of it. But to me, the biggest one's Matt Cardona. FTR too. But honestly, and that's just the thing. I don't condone releases. I think for me, a lot of it, to Corn, there's a guy, Cornette says lazy booking. To me, I feel like there's a lot of possibility. Like, and for me, that's the big thing for me. Like, I feel like the one thing, my biggest critique about Raw and just WWE booking in general is it feels like a lot to me when they book the shows. It feels like a lot of it's just filler, and it shouldn't feel like the way. Like almost like, what are we going to do to fill these 2 hours? What are we going to do to fill these 3 hours? And it shouldn't feel that way when you have the roster that they have. Like, I rather just have action-packed shows instead of feeling like they're just always trying to come up with how to fill those 3 hours. Especially. So that's the one thing with the talent. There's so much they could be doing with these guys, but at the same time, I'm happy that guys like Roberto Carrillo and Angel Garza are still around. Your Dijaks, like these are guys that I was fearful they're going to get cut, and they're still there. The Zion Quinns that hasn't been given an opportunity yet. So again, I'm encouraged. Like I said, there's a lot of guys that, again, I think if you go market yourself, you work on things, you show you're hungry, they can always come back, So I think it's a freeing thing for them. Like why hold them hostage, but at the same time, it just sucks. Like I said, they could easily afford to give these guys money and pay them out their contracts, but they choose not to. But my question for you is, who do you see out of those guys going to NXT? I mean, going to AEW?
Who, that's a tough call. It's funny because I'm a part of the group that Chris Jericho Cruisers or Jericho Cruisers or whatever on Facebook. Everyone's pitching for Dolph Ziggler to be on the ship. And I'm just sitting here thinking, well, I know many a times Dolph has mentioned he has no intentions to do anything with AEW. And I think a lot of that is in part for his brother. So, yeah, I think he wants Ryan to kind of be his own guy there and not be relied on as Dolph's brother, even though that's what a lot of the AEW fan base tease him about was Dolph's brother. Yeah. I really hate that kind of shit too, because the guy's trying to establish himself, not be in the shadow of his brother. But if I was to be honest and say anybody from this list that I have mentioned, I would really say the person I could see going to AEW, all of them, I would say could be a toss up between Mustafa Ali or possibly Riddick Moss.
Yeah, I'm hoping Riddick Moss does an OnlyFans, if I'm being honest.
No, I'm not the general male horn dog population has been for Aaliyah, but
Oh yeah, for sure. But to me, like the one thing I wish for WWE, I wish they would have put like Dana Brooke and Ivy Nile together as a tag team and let them cook, because I think they would have made a good tag team. But it is what it is. I'm happy for Dana Brooke that she's finally got her freedom. I feel like I wouldn't mind seeing her show up in AEW. The one I think for sure is Mustafa Ali. I don't want to see Matt Riddle there. I just don't. I feel like what other people have said. Like I think with less structure, he's only going to be worse. And to me, he's shown no empathy or no humility for his actions. So I really soured on the guy lately, and I have no interest in seeing him on my TV, if I'm being honest.
Well, in some ways, I think there's been too much controversy with Riddle too. So I think the best option for Riddle is really to go back to MMA. If you really want me to be honest, I think he needs to, if he's not really going to change his ways around, I would say go back to MMA unless you really want to find yourself true in the world of professional wrestling. As far as Dana Brooke, though, I think she would make a great addition to Impact, though.
Yeah, I would love to see Dana there too, and why not Riddick Moss? I mean, I hope Elias and Rick Boogs team up together. I think they would make a fun tag team. Like people will say, oh, they could be an NWA with Billy. Like, why not? But again, to me, there's plenty of jobs out there, and I think that's the one thing that people need to realize now is the wrestling business is strong. The independent scene is strong now because of AEW. I mean, these guys, if they're smart, they're working on their t-shirts already for their pro wrestling tees. I mean, you have that WWE machine behind you for a long time. So hopefully these guys, you know, are being smart and they market themselves correctly. But yeah, I wish them all the best of luck. I just don't want to see. I don't want to. Again, to me, I wouldn't mind seeing Dolph in AEW with his brother. But again, I respect the fact that if he's going to, he wants to have his brother do his own thing. I respect that too. But at the same time, I think he has a lot to offer with getting other people over. I wouldn't mind. Someone else mentioned I wouldn't mind seeing Shelton as part of the Blackpool Combat Club. I think that'd be really cool. But the one I'm really looking forward to, and I hope that he gets a chance to go over there, is Mustafa Ali. That's the one I really want to see over there.
And going from our least shocking, why don't we get into our most shocking? And I'll start with you on that. Which WWE or NXT release shocked you the most?
I mean, honestly, the Matt Riddle one really shocked me the most because I just thought, like, he seemed like they were high on him. I mean, he was just there, and again, it's like the whole thing. But at the same time, if he burnt all his bridges, that, you know, I understand that. That one shocked me a lot. And then honestly, the Emma one really shocked me just because Triple H just brought her back, and I feel like that's kind of bad PR for them, you know, to release somebody who you just brought back. But at the same time, though, I kind of get it, you know, as far as if I wonder if, you know, if it was because they're engaged and they're a couple, like if you're not going to keep one, get rid of both. So I think that might be something to do with it. But definitely the Matt Riddle one did, and I would say the Emma Riddick Moss too, because I think I like Riddick Moss a lot. I mean, just he's easy on the eyes. I mean, I'm gonna get there, but I like him. I just feel like he's never been given a fair chance. You know, the one match he had with Gunther, I think that he really showed what he could do. I mean, he's a formidable guy. I feel like Riddick Moss, Emma, and then I mean Matt Riddle really shocked me, but especially just because it came a day after. But I mean, and again, I feel like Dolph should, but it doesn't, because the amount of money he was making. It doesn't really shock me, and because I feel like they should, you know, there's other people they have these days. If they're not utilizing him, let him have his freedom. What one shocked you the most?
If you really want to be honest, I definitely would have to say Dolph Ziggler was the one that shocked me the most, because again, even though we haven't really seen him on screen, the stuff he did behind the scenes is what his biggest contributions have been. And you don't always need to have the guy on TV, but if he can provide the right tools to our young and upcoming talent, to me, that goes a longer way than just having to need to have a spot for him, you know? And yeah, it does suck.
And to me, like,
in some ways, I do understand why they had to release him, because it's never easy. And again, we never ever want to see anyone lose their jobs, but you know, yeah, it in some ways it would make sense. But for me, I thought that was hard, because it always seemed like Dolph was going to be the WWE lifer out of anybody.
And to me too, and again, it's just one of those things where it doesn't fit their business model. But like, why not have Dolph go wrestle on the independent scene? Why not have him go wrestle like at somewhere, you know, like Ohio Valley Wrestling, or, you know, or send him to Booker T's school for a year. Like, because if they can go with Dolph, like, that's like, again, he's been your measuring stick so much for other talent. Why not keep him on the payroll and just have him go wrestle like AEW does? Like, let him go wrestle their places and see who he can bring you back. Like, because he'd be a good, you know, good measuring stick for these other people out there, you know. But at the same time, they have their way of doing things, and you know, you got to come in the performance center and do the stuff. But why not utilize him more? You know, like, just to go out there and see what he can bring you. Like, and that's, again, to me, like, having someone like that who could be a talent scout for you and who could go out there and wrestle, and it could help independent, you know. And again, I would tell independent promotions, you know, you pay You pay for his, you pay for his hotel, you pay for his booking, you may make a small contribution to a charity, and you can have him come out there and wrestle at your promotion, and why not? Use him to go scout people and see what else is out there, like just to me, there's so many just other innovative ways they could be utilizing these people instead of just having them sit around and catering.
Yeah, without a doubt. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely been a bummer of a week, but why don't we kind of open it up if to anybody who's willing to talk? I see that we have Shizzy B Wrestling G in the room. Shizzy, if you want to hop in and do a mic request, if you want to give us your thoughts on anything, feel free to go ahead and hit the mic request. Do you see any of the other talent that have been recently released going anywhere else?
I mean, I definitely think Impact's a good place for them. Like, to me, like, honestly, like what I would like to see from all these, again, from other talents is why not just start signing guys to 1-year contracts? Why, like, there's hoarding like they want to hoard talent, but at the same time, like, let these guys have freedom. I mean, I want to see those guys. I definitely want to see all those guys land places. I like all the ones that got released. I want, I mean, if Sheldon still wants to wrestle, like I said, I want to see him in AEW. I do want to see Nick Nemeth in AEW because I do think, especially after how Nick got treated, or I mean Ryan got treated by CM Punk and stuff like that. I just think it would be really good to see him in AEW. Why not help his brother? But at the same time, there's so much talent already. To me, like if you're gonna have a brand split, if they did like a soft brand split, like if they had Edge and him on Collision with the other guys, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But I don't want to see Dana Brooke. I don't want to see none of the women in AEW until they do better booking, because I feel like they don't book them correctly. So I mean, Impact Wrestling is where I want to see them go. Honestly, most of them. I love what Impact did with Emma. I just hope these guys they do get jobs. I hope that they are utilized more. But at the same time, I mean, I'm being honest I joke about OnlyFans at the same time. I don't feel bad for these guys either, because at the end of the day, they could always go on there and do a page and they would make plenty of money, like look at Mandy Rose. So if these guys are if they market themselves right, they're gonna, whatever they do, they're gonna be fine. So I don't really feel bad for it. I just wish that WWE would honor the contracts. But I definitely want to see, like they talked about it, like there's someone else was talking about it on one of the podcasts. Like the reason I want to see Ryan Nick Nemeth in AEW is we've never gotten to see, he's an amateur wrestler. He's an athlete. Like we never got to see him cook. Like for example, seeing Claudio in AEW, I love him way more, or even a Danielson, seeing them in AEW gives me a better appreciation for them because they actually get to show what they can do. And so seeing all these guys get to actually wrestle, even like an Elias, getting to see him actually get to wrestle, I'm interested to see what they can actually do in the ring. So I would like to see them kind of go cook with some of the guys in AEW, just to see a fully unleashed Shelton Benjamin too. Like that part of me as a wrestling fan intrigues me.
I would definitely love to see a lot of the women who've been released go to either Impact or even possibly NWA. I think those two have definitely got a better women's division right now, especially compared to WWE and AEW. I'm not saying that the women in either of those organizations are terrible. I don't think the women are being booked fairly or correctly.
Yeah, because I know Camille might be gone from, I don't know, because they said it's before, like, but imagine a Camille versus Dana Brooke, or even a Dana Brooke versus Jordan Grace. That's enticing.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look at Aaliyah too. I think Aaliyah has potential to improve in either of those organizations. Who else do we have in there? Yulisa Leone. I think she's got a possible chance. I never did get a chance to see Alexis Gray though. I'm guessing Alexis was more NXT level up than anything. I'm trying to look through the list here, but yeah, you didn't see a whole lot of the females released. Emma definitely we know she's done some work with both Ring of Honor and Impact in the past. She could still make a good name for herself, even over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's lots of options for those ladies. But I think a good chunk of these, man, they've got potential to go elsewhere. Just, I think right now, keep your head up. Go work on your niche. Get yourself redeveloped. Give yourself a new character. And who knows, WWE could knock at your door, or if you want to explore other options.
I mean, honestly,
like you mentioned, the possibilities are endless out there.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, these guys. I mean, honestly, I mean, if these guys put only for me, and I'm like, I mean, if there's a market, why not? If these guys did OnlyFans, they can make money. I'm not worried about them, So it's like, again, you have this platform, you have all these thirsty fans online. I mean, I'm not worried about them. They're not going to be starving anytime soon. Let's just say that,
No, the only thing I would really like to see, especially on WWE's end, I want to see that 90-day clause kind of go to shit. I can understand a 30-day or a 45-day, but I think 30-day max should be plenty, especially if you're going to release someone, or if the release is on you as the company, you should get rid of that no compete clause. I'm sorry. That's on you. That's not on the talent.
I would like to see that go away too. And then I'd also like to see them, like, if they're going to release them early, like pay them out for half of their contract that's left. That's something else I would like to see too.
Pay them that minimum guaranteed you promise them.
Yes, like at least pay that half, like pay them for half that amount. Pay them if they have 3 years left on the contract, pay them for the year and a half. Like just do the right thing. There's at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt them to make, because a lot of these guys, I mean, they move away from their families, they rebooted, they uprooted themselves to go to Orlando. I mean, like again, I mean, if they at the same time, if they didn't do what they were supposed to be doing, I get it. But at the same time, like a lot of these guys could get lost in the weeds too. And again, you could say, well, speak up, but there's only so much opportunity there. And, it's just, again, be better, but at the same time, I don't want to see the current product get ruined. But at the same time, like, go grab that brass ring. The one thing I would honestly love to see with Dolph Ziggler, and this is the thing that I really want to see happen with him, is I want to see him go with Freddie Prinze Jr. Because, Freddie Prinze Jr. was going to start his own wrestling promotion. And then, he was going to start it with Bryan. And, unfortunately, he went back to WWE. He was going to use Killer Cross as well. He lost him to WWE too. So the thing that I really hope with the Dolph Ziggler is I would love to see him go with Freddie Prinze, and then see Freddie Prinze get to do his own federation, the federation with him, and utilize him there, and and then go create another wrestling product for more wrestlers to work at. I think that would be a beautiful thing. That's what I really want to see happen. Even Elias, all those guys, half the guys gone. They could go easily work for Freddie Prinze but at the same time, I don't want him to have to worry about losing to AEW. So I just hope, and again, Dolph would be the perfect guy for him because he already has plenty of money. And if what you're saying is true, like he doesn't want to step on his brother's shoes, then that's the guy who I would love to see him go with Freddie Prinze and see Freddie give his wrestling promotion one more try.
And I don't know if that's exactly what Dolph said, but I think that was the general feeling. I do know he's mentioned that he had no intentions to go to AEW, but I think that was also because, he was doing his best to be a WWE loyalist. So never say never,
But I mean, but that's the perfect guy to me. Again, he's had the long career. He has plenty of money. Like that's the guy. He'd be perfect for Freddie Prinze. Again, that's what I really want to see happen, if I'm being honest.
I also think it'd be cool to see Nick and Ryan team up, to be honest, have another brother tag team out there.
Yeah, and why, and again, and if Edge and Christian, like they're brothers as far as best friends goes, but like why not go have fun with him, and if that gives his brother more of a spotlight, then good for him. At the same time, we all know Dolph has no problem doing the job either. So if he wants to go there and be a mid-carder, let him go. Let him have fun. Like I feel like that's one thing I feel like all these guys, like they haven't been able to do the creative things they want to do. They haven't been able to show what they want to do. Like I'm interested to see them get to see what they really could bring creatively, but also just get to see them cook, and get to see them do what they can actually do in the ring. It's intriguing to me, to say the least.
Well, why don't we go ahead and end this out on a good note? Well, I give some shout outs here while we're getting ready to wrap up the episode. First, I want to give a shout out to Fan in the Van, Jim Plotner, who does a really great job each and every week. Same with Jalen over at Is This a Bad Take? Also with Two Dudes Sports News. Also want to give a shout out to Brutally Honest Sports, Nate's Daily Wager, Austin Boyer over at the Wrestling World, BC Hunter there with Wrestling with the Truth, Wrestling with the 80s. He's got a lot of projects going on there. And for those of you that like to go back in time, I really recommend you check out BC stuff. He does a lot of great content, especially on his YouTube channels. Also, I've shouted him out already, but Ted the Hillbilly Hill, who's a big supporter, not just us, but everybody in the wrestling community. Thank you, Ted, for your support, even though you're not on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. Want to make sure everybody tunes into the Hill Truth podcast. You can listen to him on almost any podcast platform out there. Be sure to check him out as he breaks down hills in the wrestling business. Carlos, do you have any shout outs to give?
I just shout our fellow partners, the Bryan Atkins, Brian Ballard, Heather, Bama Girl Forever.
Slackers. Oh, just kidding.
Roll Tide bitches. You shouldn't be. You why don't you go look in the pot kettle and say that. And then also Will, love you guys. Help Heather, help you're feeling better. Brian, help your daughter's kicking ass in tennis. Will, get off your ass and get here.
Yeah.
But everyone who supports us. I mean, a big shout out to Nasty Leroy. Again, everyone else who comes to our spaces every week. I appreciate you guys. Big shout out to Chris Haas, who's a big supporter. He jumped on and was my co-host last week on Wednesday. Just anyone who's supporting us. We are building the community slowly out there. The guys in the Real Stage Network, like the Jones and Fantasy Dad, who
Straight Tippin, Tip Major,
Straight Tippin, Sage, her son, Fantasy Dad, Parlay Joe, Jonesin. I'm like, I know, one's like I'm right on my tongue. I'm sorry, but Royce, sports primetime sports fix on a Friday night at 8:00 or 11, 8:00, or I think it starts at like around 11 or Eastern, 8 Pacific. It's a good time. To all the New Yorker boys out there, you guys always got me laughing. Just everyone who's on X trying to create a positive space, trying to support each other. Just again, everyone who supports us, I see you guys and we thank you. From anything from a like to a retweet to just come into our space for a little bit. Thank you guys for supporting us, and we'll keep on trying to entertain you guys. Also, we laugh, we learn. Those girls, they support us as well. Big shout out to those guys, to those ladies as well. They always crack me up.
Yeah, Chris and Deb are always a hoot. As I mentioned in one of the posts, if you have a bad day, listen to one of their episodes because they will make you laugh your butt off and have a better day. So definitely give those two ladies a listen. Also want to shout out another one that supported us too is Visit Vegas Places with Coyle. He's does a great job promoting businesses there in Vegas. So if you ever travel there, he's got a lot of good suggestions. Go listen to his podcast. I'm sure he's covered almost every great business out there in the Las Vegas area. Without any further ado, I want to say thank you to StreamYard and Spotify for podcasters for being our home and creating these podcasts. You can listen to us here on Xspace, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and much more. And you can also catch us on the Facebook at the Fans of Pro Wrestling in the groups there. But you can also catch us on the X app. Carlos, you want to give your handles out?
Yeah, on X, I am at C to the LOS 77. Also at Conquer the No. And then also on Instagram, I'm at Rainbow Goodness _.
And you can also catch me on the X app at WF Insight Podcast. And more importantly, I will be gone again next Sunday. Or no, I will be here next Sunday, actually. I'm trying to go on vacation just a little too early. Thanks, Carlos. But No, we will be back again Wednesday night on the X Space app. Carlos will be hosting Wrestling Fans Wednesday Night Chaos. What time is that again, Carlos?
That'll be so right after Dynamite concludes. So 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Awesome. We hope to see you all there. And as far as that goes, we will catch you again Wednesday night. We hope you all have a great week. Enjoy wrestling and peace out.